All right, I think we can begin. Most of our resource persons are here now. Muli, magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. Welcome to the Senate. Mas kumonti na ngayon yung mga kasama ko kasi maaga-aga pa. But this is our second hearing on a very contentious issue and quite complicated actually. Sa ating bayan, totoo yung kasabihan. The truth has become such a valuable commodity that it is immediately surrounded by a bodyguard of lies. Today, we want to focus on how to stop the spread of fake news and determine whether legislation is the proper remedy. In line with this, we will tackle three issues. First, the extent of responsibility and accountability of bloggers and journalists in spreading misinformation. And second, the effect of online platforms like Facebook in shaping public opinion and facilitating the spread of misinformation. And third, the accountability of government for the use or misuse of resources in spreading disinformation or suppressing the truth. A UP professor, one of our guests in fact, defined fake news as manufactured information or disinformation which is designed to mislead and is purposely spread in a strategic way to persuade. 6. It has also been called propaganda or computational propaganda because there are online articles that appear to be factual news but are actually paid for and designed to manipulate opinions. Sa mga artikulong nasulat ukol sa fake news, makikita natin na may dalawang aspeto ito, the content and the medium. Someone once said that content is fire and social media is the fuel or gasoline. Put the two together and you have a highly combustible material. To illustrate, where do you get your news? Anong unang ginagawa mo pagising mo? Marami sa atin tinitignan ang ating Facebook feed or news feed sa Facebook. At syempre, minsan sa Viber na may link din naman sa Facebook o iba't ibang sites. At syempre dahil pinost ng isang article ng kaibigan mo, kahit na title pa lamang ang nabasa mo, maniniwala ka na agad at isa-share mo ito dahil kaibigan mo ang nagpasa sa inyo. A 2015 report by the National Telehealth Center stated that 42% of 102, which I think is even more, million Filipinos were active users of social media, with Facebook as the most actively used social media platform. What we don't know or refuse to recognize is that Facebook can act like an echo chamber, reflecting back only the news that you like. Binabasa ng Facebook ang mga likes at dislikes mo at websites na madalas na pinupuntahan mo. Tapos, base dito, mamimili sila ng balita na ipapakita sa feed mo. Hindi ba kayo nagtataka kung bakit yung mga kaibigan na matagal mo nang hindi nakikita, laging lumalabas sa feed mo sa Facebook? Pareho kasi kayo ng pinaniniwalaan. Ang problema, dahil paulit-ulit na lang ang nakikita natin, hindi na tayo nagiging mapanuri. Tinatanggap na lang natin ang impormasyon kasi inaakala natin na yun din ang pinaniniwalaan ng maraming tao sa ating bayan. Facebook cannot attend today due to internal organization changes. We have received their position paper which states that they make use of products and have partnerships and programs to promote authentic communications and stop fake news. Based on their letter, it appears that their efforts are lacking since, admittedly, they do not delete false news from the platform that was created with authentic accounts. Sayang wala sila dito kasi maipapaliwanag sana nila kung ano ba ang mga partnerships, programs at products nito. Though social media is a fun and wonderful invention, it can be used to manufacture popularity. Ang hindi alam ng karamihan sa atin ay may tinatawag na web robots or bots na nakaprograma para linlangin tayo sa pamamagitan ng pagkakalat ng peking balita gamit ang mga peking account. It could influence the audience to elect a certain candidate or reject another one. In fact, today we have some guests who will share their experience on how social media was used in elections. In other words, approval that is manufactured by bots is just as bad as votes that are bought. Both of them undermine the essence of our democracy. The danger of online manipulation is that it blocks the flow of real feedback from real people, which is essential in improving and perfecting public policy programs. For instance, do we know how many EJKs have been committed in the past year? How many are drug-related cases? Who will actually tell us the numbers? Iba-ibang figures, iba-ibang sites, may official na galing mismo sa PNP, pero hindi necessarily yun ang ginagamit. So kahit na mismo tayo dito sa Senado, pag gumagawa tayo ng research, kailangan natin tawagan munang PNP, kailangan natin tawagan ng isang ginagalang na publication. Pero paano kung ikaw ay isang ordinaryong mamamayan at sinabi sa'yo, 100,000, pero yun ang lumalabas sa feed mo. Thus, fake news has two parts. I mentioned the first one, the medium. The second part is the content. The people behind that content, the journalists and the bloggers, are also responsible for the spread of fake news. So we can't really say just bloggers. Some are also mainstream journalists. In our last hearing, some bloggers claimed that their posts were personal expressions or mere opinions and are therefore not subject to a journalist's code of ethics. In my view, bloggers are not above libel laws. If a blogger passes on information that he claims are facts, but which later on turns out to be false, we should be able to hold him or her accountable. And though we support a person's right to freedom of expression, once the writer defames the subject of his article, the writer must be held liable in accordance with our laws. You cannot just attack a person without basis and then hide behind the skirt of free expression. I think one must have the courage to stand by what he has written and posted publicly. Aside from bloggers and journalists, there's another player in the social media arena, the government. In other countries, authoritarian regimes have used public resources to spread misinformation, silence dissent, and slander opponents through social media. Aanin mo ang batas na sumusulong sa freedom of information kung peking balita rin naman ang ibinibigay sa'yo ng gobyerno. Government regulation that borders on intimidation and harassment of journalists is another means of suppressing the truth. Let us remember the Constitution gives the people the right to information and protects freedom of the press. Ito na ba ang kinahinatnan ng bayan natin ngayon? Hostage ng disinformation? Are we now in a permanent state of civil cyber war, the kind which gives no quarter to other ideas and intolerant of other people's views? Is legislation the key? In our last hearing, there was a proposal to regulate fake news through legislation. However, almost all participants, including me, expressed alarm that a new law could lead to censorship. Congress cannot legislate thought control. I believe that this destructive and divisive phenomenon can only be addressed by a cocktail of solutions, the most potent of which is through an educated and vigilant citizenry and a government which must cease to be the greatest enabler of manufactured information. But as chair of this Committee on Public Information and Mass Media, we must explore all possible solutions to this new problem that plagues our community. Please allow me to ask the preliminary questions, and then we will allow some guests to make a short present. After that, whichever senator will be present, in order of their arrival, they may also ask their questions. But before I acknowledge the guests, I would like to read one of the ones that filed a resolution for this hearing, our Majority Leader, Senator Vicente Soto, who will be present in a later time today. Good morning, members of the committee and our resource persons and guests. Thank you for allowing the reading of my brief statement in the records of the committee hearing, as I am unable to present today due to a previously scheduled appointment. At the onset, let me assure the Chair that I am 100% in support of the committee's efforts to come up with a legislative measure to address the proliferation of fake news and the dangers it brings to society in general and to affected individuals in particular. Clearly, we can all agree that fake news consists of deliberate misinformation that is spread via traditional print and broadcast media or online social media. Its intent is to mislead in order to damage a person, an agency, institution, an entity, usually for financial or political gain, often using sensational, dishonest, or outright fabricated headlines and content. This is different from satire, which is intended to amuse or humor rather than mislead the audience. His Holiness Pope Francis considered the spread of fake news to be so grave and alarming in this fast-paced communication and digital world that he chose it to be the topic of his message for World Communications Day last January 24, 2018. It is entitled, "The Truth Will Set You Free: Fake News and Journalism for Peace." Pope Francis himself described the term fake news as the spreading of information online or in the traditional media using false information based on non-existent or distorted data meant to deceive and manipulate the reader in order to advance specific goals, influence political decisions, serve economic interests. He condemned those who spread them and urged everyone, especially journalists and social media users, to unmask what could be called the snake tactics used by those who disguise themselves in order to strike at any time and place. The Pope also stated that the first to employ fake news strategy was the crafty serpent in the book of Genesis, who at the dawn of humanity created the first fake news. He revealed the strategy of this skilled father flies is precisely mimicry, that sly and dangerous form of seduction that worms its way into the heart with false and alluring arguments. And he warned that those who unquestioningly spread and repost fake news are unwilling accomplices in spreading biased and baseless ideas. Addressing himself directly to journalists and social media users, Pope Francis exhorted that if responsibility is the answer to the spread of fake news, then a weighty responsibility rests on the shoulders of those whose job is to provide information, namely journalists, the protectors of news. In today's world, theirs is, in every sense, not just a job, it is a mission. Amid feeding frenzies and the mad rush for a scoop, they must remember that the heart of information is not the speed with which it is reported or its audience impact, but persons. For my part, I believe that this is Senator Soto speaking. I believe that I have already done my share in unmasking at least one crafty serpent who used snake tactics in spreading the evil of fake news about me and other senators. Last November 28, 2017, I filed a complaint for libel under the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012 and the revised penal code against Edward Angelo Mojares, Kokoy Dayaw. It is now with the Pasay City Prosecutor's Office, and due to the fact that the respondent failed to appear at the two scheduled dates for preliminary investigation despite the subpoena. Well, this I think we need to clarify if he indeed received the subpoena, but we did issue. I do understand that the case is now submitted for resolution, and I do not want to preempt the decision of the prosecutor's office. I will see the respondent, Mr. Kokoy Dayaw, in court. Thank you, Madam Chair. Is Kokoy Dayaw here? for the record? No. This is quite sad. You know, you can dish it, but you can't take it. And so I would like to thank those who are here in spite of threats, those who are here in spite of their misgivings and apprehensions about being here, those who are here in spite of being bullied in the past how many months. I thank you for your courage, and I thank you for your mission to be able to discuss what you believe in. I thank the secretary for being here also, because under you, you have a lot to guide and also to monitor. So thank you for being here so you can answer our questions that we also had from our last hearing. I would like to acknowledge my good seatmate, my colleague, my Senator, Senator Manny Pacquiao. So to begin, I would like our guests to please introduce yourselves one by one, your name and your affiliations. Let me begin with the Secretary.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning. My name is Martin Andanar, and I represent the Presidential Communications Operations Office.
Good morning, Madam Chair and fellow guests. Senator Pacquiao. I'm Attorney Marie Banaag from the Presidential Communications Office.
Madam Chair, good morning, and fellow guests. I'm Gregorio Angelo Villar, Deputy Director General of the Philippine Information Agency.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Senator Pacquiao, and esteemed guests. I'm Bonga Portadera from the Philippine Broadcasting Service.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Senator Manny Pacquiao. I'm Gigi Arcilia Agtay of the News and Information Bureau.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Senator Pacquiao. I'm Attorney Christopher Hernandez, Executive Officer for Administration of the Cybercrime Division of the NBI.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. Manuel Antonio Duarte po, Chief of Cybercrime Division, representing Director Dante Gueran of NBI. Thank you.
Magandang umaga po, Madam Chair and Senator Pacquiao and esteemed guests. Ako po si Clarissa David from the College of Mass Communication, University of the Philippines.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Senator Pacquiao. My name is Cheryl Soriano from De La Salle University.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Senator Pacquiao and fellow guests. I'm Noemi Dado, blogger.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Senator Pacquiao and guests. I'm Jane Uymatiao, blogger.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Senator Pacquiao. I am Mark Lopez. I have no credentials whatsoever. I am just an ordinary citizen.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Senator Pacquiao, and fellow guests. I'm Armand Nokum, Chair of Tin and King's Public Relations. I'm a former reporter and a political strategist and a social media operator.
Good morning, Madam Chair and Senator Pacquiao. I'm Junik Dao, Chairman of KBP.
Morning, Madam Chair, Senator Pacquiao. Attorney Reggie Villarreal, General Counsel of the KBP.
It's from the left of Secretary Andanar.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Honorable Senator, my fellow Filipinos. I'm Lorraine Badoy of the PCOO.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Honorable Senator Pacquiao and Honorable Senator Bam Aquino. I'm Marvin Gatpayat, representing the PCOO.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Senator Aquino and Senator Pacquiao. I am Dino Apollonio, General Manager of the People's Television Network.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Senator Bam Aquino, Senator Manny Pacquiao. I'm Paul Gutierrez, President, National Press Club.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Good morning, Senator Aquino, Senator Pacquiao, esteemed guests. I'm Carlos Nazareno with democracy.net.ph.
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair, Senators Aquino and Pacquiao. I'm J. Mark Tordesilia of GMA News.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Senator Pacquiao and Senator Aquino. My name is Jover, blogger.
And your last name, please.
Sorry, it's Jover Laurio po.
Sorry, this is for the record. Go ahead.
Good morning po. I'm Ed Lingao from TV5.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Senators Aquino and Pacquiao. I'm Ellen Tordesillas. I'm with Vera Files, and I also write a column for Malaya.
Good morning, Your Honors. I am Gilbert T. Andres. I represent the AFICSI, or the Advocates for Freedom of Expression Coalition. It's a coalition of 12 NGOs in 6 Southeast Asian countries. And I also represent Center Law Philippines. Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honors. I'm Gemma Mendoza from Raptor.
Good morning. I'm Maria Ressa from Raptor.
Magandang umaga po. Rowena Paraan from ABS-CBN.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Senators Aquino and Pacquiao. I'm G. Mario Gonzalez from ABS-CBN News.
Magandang umaga po. Robbie Alampay, Business World and Interaction.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Senator Pacquiao and Senator Aquino. I am Paulo Romero, Philippine Star, covering the Senate.
Thank you very much. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Senator Bam Aquino. Thank you, sir. And to most of you who, well, to many of you who are here again, Mr. Alampay, etc., Mr. Desillas, yung mga, the KBP people, thank you for always being here and supporting our hearing. We really appreciate that. Okay, so we shall now, actually, should I begin now with the questions? But before I do that, do any of you have a presentation you would like to give us today? So let's begin with PCOO, and then I believe Rappler also has one. Looking forward to both your presentations. How about you, sir? Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Good morning po, Senator Bam Aquino at Senator Pacquiao. I just have just a brief opening statement. I have a presentation also on PowerPoint. So, yeah. The Presidential Communications Operations Office, or PCOO, and its attached agencies highly appreciate the invitation to attend this second public hearing on how to stop the spread of fake news. Is legislation the proper remedy? We recognize the proliferation of fake news as one of the pressing issues that must be addressed immediately, as it not only affects individual reputation, but also our society as a whole. As such, we are highly appreciative of our good senators for paying attention to this issue. We note that there are already existing laws which may be tapped by anyone seeking redress against fake news or false information, such as the revised Penal Code as amended by Republic Act 10951. In particular, Article 154, unlawful use of means of publication and unlawful utterances, and Article 355, libel by means of writing or similar means. Another landmark legislation is a Republic Act number 10175, or Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012, which has a selection or a section on cyber libel. While we understand that it is the prerogative of the legislature to enact new laws or amend existing ones, we humbly offer the proposition that in such case, fake news be very clearly defined, with the assurance that the basic constitutional right to free speech and expression will not be curtailed. We also believe that a holistic and whole of society approach is essential to address fake news and its harmful effects. And we believe that the best way to do it, to fight fake news, is to inform the public on what is really happening in our country and what their government is doing for them to provide a comfortable life for all. Most importantly, we underscore the need for extensive promotion of media and information literacy, which should be a shared responsibility and advocacy of the government, the academe, the relevant industry players such as private media and social media platform providers, and the community. We therefore find this hearing as another important opportunity to present PCOO's initiatives on the issue and to ask for your support in the legislative branch to further advance our cause of educating the public on being discerning and responsible users of information. Our mandate is not only to provide information, but also to empower the public on how to use these information towards the greater good and to support nation building. The PCOO, its attached agencies, its various communication platform, and its more than 1,000 public information officers around the country are working very hard to communicate and promote the government's programs and policies to both Filipinos and people around the world. To cite some examples, we have strengthened our facilities and pursued capacity building for our information officers since we took office. PTV, or the People's Television, has increased its transmission from 25,000 watts to 55,000 watts. And now we are increasing it to 120,000 watts this year to reach more people and provide quality presentation. PTV ranked number 4 in the Kantar Media third quarter 2017 media report, with highest number of online engagement in its Facebook page at 3,200 per 1,000 followers. And the page has 1.4 million followers from the 30,000 plus followers when we took over. We improved the facilities, programs, and shows from before in order to raise awareness on the government's efforts to improve the lives of Filipinos through television broadcasting. We have enhanced the Philippine Broadcast Service with better facilities and up-to-date equipment in order to reach more people through the airwaves. The government's flagship radio station, Radyo Pilipinas, holds the number 7 spot in rankings as of third quarter of 2017, coming from 0 in third quarter 2016. We air live government news here and aim to mobilize all sectors of society towards nation building. FM2, or 104.3 FM, another station of PBS, soared through the charts affinity-wise, starting from 116 in third quarter 2016 all the way to number 1 in third quarter 2017. The Philippine Information Agency, or the PIA, as a government's development communication arm, contributes to addressing fake news through the following: daily generation and dissemination of timely, accurate, and relevant news by its 16 regional and 72 provincial offices nationwide, using multimedia platforms, including social media. These stories pass through the multiple layers of editing and vetting prior to release. Promotion of responsible use of social media, including tips on how to spot fake news, with no less than the Director General of the Philippine Information Agency taking the lead in doing the rounds for this advocacy. On the 20th to the 21st of March 2018, the Philippine Information Agency, in partnership with the Infocom Media Development Authority of Singapore and with the funding from the Japan-ASEAN Integration Fund, will organize a media and information literacy for the youth forum. This will be attended by information or media, academe, and youth representatives from the 10 ASEAN member states and Japan, with the objective of discussing cyber wellness issues and soliciting inputs for the cyber wellness materials and campaign, which will be launched by all the ASEAN member states later on. The 44-year-old Philippine News Agency, or PNA, the government's official online news agency, has been generating over 100 articles per day. These articles from Metro Manila and 20 other provincial bureaus nationwide have become a source of news for some mainstream or provincial media outlets. Its newly launched newscast, dubbed PNA Newsroom, is a 5-day English news program that provides a daily dose of relevant news from all over the agency's provincial bureaus. It remains objective in its news coverage and has in fact published a lot of news stories covering the side of the opposition, as you will notice in the screen. As part of this state media's upgrade, the Philippine News Agency office underwent its much needed and long overdue renovation, deserving of the government's Newswire agency. The makeover has given its staff a sense of pride and motivation. And within the PCOO proper, we have strengthened our multimedia production team to help various agencies of the executive branch in terms of promoting their campaigns and accomplishments. We established the Provincial Communications Officers Network, or PCONet, in order to collaborate with LGUs and regional media in explaining the policies of the administration to the grassroots. Together with the Philippine Information Agency, we will be gathering over 1,000 communication practitioners from various fields in the first National Information Convention in Davao City on the 19th to the 21st of February 2018. This 3-day event will involve a series of lectures and talks that aim to contribute, among others, to the development of effective and responsible use of information in support of nation building. Throughout last year, we have been promoting responsible information sharing using our government platforms. We have had dialogues with our ASEAN neighbors on measures and best practices to counter fake news and to deliver the right information to the public. In September last year, we organized the ASEAN Ministers Responsible for Information, or AMRI, roundtable discussion on countering fake news and communicating the right information, where we extensively shared experiences and exchanged views on dealing with fake news. We have made mistakes in the past. We have been held accountable for them. But these were honest mistakes with no intention to malign anybody and with no malicious intent. These should not overshadow or speak for the work of thousands in government who work tirelessly to provide the public the right and useful information. Allow us to cite some recommendations where we can work together to promote responsible information sharing and stop the prevalence of fake news. Number 1, Madam Chair, increase the budget for media and information literacy education. We are not only the advocates of real news and accurate information. It should be the collective effort of all stakeholders to educate our people to discern fake from real news, to to minimize, if not eliminate, the spread of false information. PCO has been going around the country to build the capacity and capability of information officers. This can be a program that can be adopted by schools and other concerned institutions and organizations. There is also a need for government to invest on our public information officers. We have hard-working PIOs in every LGU, in every line agency, in every branch of government. Let's work together in acknowledging the crucial role of their profession in effectively communicating what the government is doing, and at the same time, acting as channels for the public to communicate to its government. Concerned agencies such as the Department of Information and Communication Technology, or DICT, and the National Bureau of Investigation have been tirelessly working for safe access to internet and prosecution of cases against purveyors of fake news and malicious misinformation. Thus, we call for support in strengthening these offices to more effectively deal with cyber crimes. We also underscore that the discussion of fake news should not only be centered on the political bickering in social media. There are extremists who use social media to recruit people to join them. And false announcements also find their way through ICT channels to create panic among the public. These grave acts of misinformation deserve attention in our discussion on fake news. On top of these three recommendations, allow us to also mention that there is so much good news happening in this government. And our time should be spent on communicating how the public can benefit from them instead of putting out the fires of fake news against this administration. In summary, the PCOO, together with the entire Duterte administration, has been exerting great effort in promoting responsible use of information. By raising awareness and educating the public, especially the youth, on how to tell fake news from real, we believe we can significantly reduce its proliferation, and we need your support to strengthen our current programs along this line. How to stop the spread of fake news? Is legislation the proper remedy? Our position on this issue is that there are already existing legal remedies in place to address this, and we encourage everyone to take legal action against the parties who are propagating fake news. We also could not overemphasize the importance of promoting media and information literacy as a shared responsibility and advocacy to help the public exercise discernment in consumption of information and responsibility in generation and dissemination of information. We have respectfully submitted to this body our position paper on this issue for your further reference, Madam Chair. And the best way to counter fake news is to be properly informed. Let us work together in achieving a shared vision of a safe and healthy information environment for our people. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you for your steps, your suggestions, Secretary Andanar. I would like to ask who else might be ready for a presentation. Ms. Maria Ressa.
Thank you, Senator Pope. So I think to even talk about legislation, what we'll show you in the next 10 slides is really what the ecosystem looks like. What are the facts? So let's look at the facts, and then we'll present to you the data that backs this, including the networks that power this. Let's start, please. So the information ecosystem, I think first is to look at it as a global phenomenon. And you can look at some of these. Rappler took part in a study that looked at something called patriotic trolling. Patriotic trolling is state-sponsored online hate and harassment campaigns to silence and intimidate. This is the findings of this study, which are set to be released in the coming months, mirror the findings of the November release of freedomhouse.org. They studied 65 countries around the world and found that in 30 of the 65 countries, that social media provided cheap armies to potential authoritarian and dictators to control and manipulate public opinion. The November study is already online. You can Google freedomhouse.org. Unlike what China used to do, so let's say in 2015, China flooded the market, no, go back. Yeah, China flooded the market with 450 million fake social media messages. This is according to the Wall Street Journal, right? 450 million. But China's is a little bit more boring. Russian disinformation, on the other hand, and this is where this phenomenon gets its seeds from, actually hits the fracture lines of societies, and instead of control, you flood the market with lies. Here I put, say, false news, but you flood the market with lies and disinformation, and this plays right along with the exponential growth of technology, because then when people don't know what is real and what is fake, when facts don't matter, then the voice with the loudest megaphone gains more power. Here, as in other parts of the world, in Australia, for example, women are found to have been the target 3 times more than men. And then looking at the pattern in the Philippines, and we can share the data with you here, there are 3 steps that have been taken. And I think you can look at this in the context of Senator Laila de Lima. The first is you attack credibility of whoever the target is. You allege corruption, and then you repeat that exponentially. Because if you say a lie 10 times, truth can catch up. But if you say a lie 1,000,000 times, that becomes a truth. Second, the second step always is to use sexual violence. We've seen this here repeatedly in the Philippines. It inflames biases, fuels misogyny, and then degrades the target as a sexual object. We've seen this again directed against many women. And then finally, the last step before taking it into the real world, because there have been 4 waves of these types of attacks. Hashtag arrest Laila de Lima. Last May, I saw hashtag arrest Maria Ressa. We'll show you how it happened. Let's go to the next slide. Why the Philippines? This is January last year, and it's gotten even. The numbers are a little higher. The Philippines is actually the top country that goes online globally. We spend the most number of hours online. I believe up until last year, we were also the largest Facebook market in the world. 97% of Filipinos online are on Facebook. Facebook is our public market. You're talking about roughly 58 million to 60 million Facebook accounts. Next slide. So this is how we first found this. This is our discovery. Go back, please. Okay, sorry, I don't have a clicker. So this is, we'll show you the series that we did. And this dates back to September of 2016 when the Davao bombing happened. So the Davao bombing happened on a Friday, if you remember. And then early Saturday morning, we found this. Click. This is a website that took a March story. So it's September 2016, right? It took a March story and made it appear like it was happening that day. And then this website, along with others that were created that day, spread this lie. Go back again, please. One more time. Spread it through Facebook accounts that were used in the campaign of then Mayor Duterte. So I think what you're seeing in our country is something that's similar in other countries around the world. A campaign machinery becomes weaponized. And the irony, of course, is that it didn't become weaponized until after President Duterte won. That happened in July of 2016. And that, when we looked at the data, we then published this article. Click, please, Gems. Propaganda war weaponizing the internet. If you look at the date, it was last year, more than a year and a half ago, or nearly a year and a half ago, October. The second part of the series looked at algorithms of Facebook. Let's go to the third part. And this answers a crucial question, which is how far does fake news spread, right? How far can a lie spread when you put it together in a propaganda network? This is an account called, she called herself Luvimin Cancio. Luvimin Cancio was a troll for ABS-CBN, GMA, Rappler, because she was so active. She drew our attention. We looked at it, and we looked at her photo. The middle ground there is an Excel file. Those are her friends. And then all the way to the right, those are the Facebook pages where she posts. If you look again, those are the campaign pages, right? We took her photo and then did it to Google reverse imaging. It's a Korean pop star. And then we took a look at who she followed. Let's go to the next slide, Jem. Those are 26 accounts who follow each other. Those 26 accounts, because they follow each other, become one network that rise and fall together, right? So all of those, we then took the data that they told us they were, where they worked, where they went to school, and then we put it on an Excel sheet and checked every single one. When we checked every single one, including their names, every single data point is a lie. So this is a sock puppet network of 26 fake accounts. Now, how far do they reach? We manually counted, and it took almost 3 months to do that, how far that reached, because this became the basis of how we can automate the gathering of data. When we counted how far that 26 fake accounts can reach, we found it hit nearly 3 million other Facebook accounts. So what they spread, as they moved up in the algorithms, influenced 3 million other accounts. We came out with this story in October 2016, Fake Accounts, Manufactured Reality on Social Media. We thought we hit a nerve because this was, after we did that, the day after, this is what flooded my Facebook feed. These are only some of the attacks that I'd gotten. You can see some of them are quite creative. The one on top, Maria, you are a waste of sperm. Your mother should have swallowed you. You have to laugh about some of these things, right? And then the name, that account was posted publicly, and then a common friend of ours, Die Stupid Bitch. If you don't like our president, leave our country. This is a real person, a doctor, a young doctor. And when he was tagged on my Facebook page, he said, oh, I left it open in a Facebook cafe. But when I went back over we did a private message because I thought maybe he just didn't know this is against the law. Then I noticed that he had attacked 3 other women journalists in exactly the same way. So this is the day after. Over the next month, from October to go back, please. Over the next month, from October to November, I received an average of 90 hate messages per hour. And even me saying that was taken and misread by the propaganda machine and then was used to attack me. So let's go to the next slide. This is hashtag Arrest Maria Ressa. Rappler came out with a story that looked at the conversation between President Trump and President Duterte. We published a transcript. And again, if you look at this statement, Rappler just made the Philippines a legitimate target of North Korean nuclear missiles. It's kind of laughable, and yet people believe it. So let's look at from the ecosystem of the bloggers to, let's call it the pro-Duterte bloggers, to the campaign machinery. Go back, nope, back. I'll call it one at a time, Gems. So from there, you go to the campaign pages. Click, please. Ipatawag na yan sa Senado, hashtag Arrest Maria Ressa. Nandito na po ako. Thank you for calling me. Then from there, it goes to a real person. Let's click again. And this one is, I smell an arrest, possible closure of Rappler.com. This is a real person in Singapore. And let's go again. Now, here's where it turns more sexual. Maybe Maria Ressa's dream is to become the ultimate porn star in a gangbang scene. I won't tell you his name, but he places it publicly. And then finally, let's go to this one. So this is the evolution of it. Me to the RP government, make sure Maria Ressa gets publicly raped to death when martial law expands to Luzon. It would bring joy to my heart. 90 hate messages, and I'm not the only one. I think many of the people here, women journalists in particular, who are reporting, who are asking tough questions, have been the targets of this. So that's the way it worked. Now, what did we do? Let's go to the next slide. So what we did is we gathered data. We took the data and we formed what we began to call a Shark Tank. By mid last year, we had maybe 12.5 million accounts being part of it, meaning if you spread something that was a lie, you became part of this because we mapped the spread, and then maybe about 350 million comments. On the left side, you see the fake news sites. The middle column is the Facebook page that spread it, and then the one I look at a lot is the average reposting, because you can see the average reposting, how often. Now, this is a tool we built for our social media team, so we can tell the difference between a paid kind of cut and paste account to a troll to a fake account that is run by a real person, blah, 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 all through. Let me show you what it looks like. Again, this is a very rudimentary CMS we built so our social media team can deal with it. So let's look at October 2016. We're going to Sally Matay because her reposting rate was 17 times for every post. If you look at what she's posted, you can clearly see it's a cut and paste method, right? Just cut and paste. And these are where she posts them. If you look at the websites and the groups of where she posts that disinformation or what she wants to post, you can see the combination of the pages. This is where this kind of begins the ecosystem, right? You can see both the Duterte campaign pages and the vice president of former Senator Bongbong Marcos coming together here. We can also check for my social media team. They want to see, all right, well, let's plug in a name to see what that person has posted, what that page has done, and here you can see it come out. Okay, let's move on. Let's take the data. What do we do with all that data? Well, we can take all of these networks and actually begin to map them. This is data with the weighted in degree and the weighted out degree and the degree for hashtag Lenny Leaks, an attack against Vice President Robredo that happened last year. These accounts all together, when you put the data together, will bring this. This is the foundation of our information ecosystem in the Philippines today. This is hashtag Lenny Leaks. When I run the accounts that are attacking other women journalists, they're similar to this, different leads, but these are the content creators and they're broken down by demographic. You can see the pseudo-intellectuals, the middle class, and the mass base. That, as a base, is where our information comes from. The second one is when you take the social media team and it jumps into the real world, and a favorite place where it jumps is, let's click again, is traditional media, right? So we in traditional media also do it, but one of the bloggers here, the pro-Duterte blogger, also writes for this publication. And then finally from there, there's also the connection to the state. Let's click again. This is PCOO saying that it's now going to actually partner with Russia. Martin and I were, Secretary Andanar and I were in Hong Kong together, and you know, he said that he would take the PNA and other agencies and send them to China and Russia for training. I just cautioned, and I know we spoke about this already, I just feel that that is a difficult thing, because more power and kudos to everything that you're doing with PNA and with the agencies to try to upgrade them. But I think falling into this kind of pattern, using different disinformation tactics could work against all of us as a nation. And then finally, we close the information ecosystem loop by actually appointing the bloggers, and let's click to office. And this is where this now becomes a truly potent ecosystem, because when Facebook calls the shots, as it does, when that becomes our public space, we've created polarized division. And let's click again. Let's go to Facebook. I was so concerned about this that last August in 2016, I actually went to Facebook with the data to say, you know, I'm really worried because presidential elections in the US are coming up. You know, and then as a joke, I kind of said President Trump could win. I laughed. I think Facebook has looked at the data. I've gotten as far as talking to Mark Zuckerberg, and let's click there. And I think that Facebook is doing its best. Rappler couldn't have become Rappler without Facebook. We do need Facebook. At the same time, I feel that the kind of mass base engagement system that Facebook uses turns the wisdom of the crowds into a mob like this. And I think that's where we need to actually figure out how are we going to deal with this. In terms of what's the ecosystem, there are 6 players now that are being manipulated or are taking part in this. The first are the true believers, really sincere ideology, and this is a global, the 6 points are global, right? The second is geopolitical. These are the state, the people who want to control it for geopolitical purposes. Third, financial. You see this in the States. You see in BuzzFeed, they showed you how kids in Macedonia were selling ads, right? Fourth, reputation. These are the people who want the attention and reputation benefits that a platform like Facebook or Twitter could give them. They are motivated by the feedback loop of clicks and follows. Fifth, entertainment. These are the guys who are on for the lulls, right? These are the mischievous fun. They look at it as fun to join taking someone down. So they've extended online gaming practices. So they're going on a quest together. And then finally, 6th one is just the power to be able to actually assert through digital action and influence. So these are like the 4chan people who use mimetic warfare. All 6 of these have all been employed in the Philippines in different ways. We fall into one or many of those categories, but I think what's very clear is that the old world of traditional media is gone. And this new world, we're watching creative destruction, and we would like to, as we have called attention to this over and over. In terms of legislation, finally, I'll close on this. There are existing laws. I agree with Secretary Andanar. I don't believe that we should have more legislation, but I think we should impose existing laws on this and demand accountability. I think the biggest problem is the lack of accountability, the impunity that's happening right now.
Thank you, Ms. Rasa, for your presentation.